نم حمزة نم خمزة الصلاة الله والسلام الله عليك يا رسول يا نبي الله الصلاة الله والسلام الله عليك يا رسول يا نبي الله الصلاة الله والسلام الله عليك يا رسول يا نبي الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا حبيب الله محمد ابن عبد الله محمد نور عرش الله محمد رسول الله محمد رسول الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا حبيب
أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to our beautiful mothers and our fathers and our ancestors. On this, today could be in and around the 25th, going into the 26th, Allahu Akbar, of Rabiul Thani 1446 7 هجري 1447 هجري والموافق يوم الخميس. It is the fifth cycle of the six cycles of the Al-Jim lifestyle orientations, and in a humble attempt and initiation to assist those who has successfully transmutated, those who has successfully been given approval to find their seat on the train. Okay. Whenever you recite the Quran, people, those of us, mashallah, that Allah grants them, you don't just read the Quran or make hafiz the Quran. The Quran is a different document to what you have ever thought it is. When you get into the Jahannam, you will sell it at a very small price. Okay, you will do all sorts of things with it. Okay, you'll become boys to men. When you grow to the next stage of your maturity, then the Quran will guide you. Quran will guide you. Okay, and you will be guided to be told that you will find that majority of human beings, including your parents, including your children, including your husband, might not have believers, might not have been believers. Okay? وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Most of the cases, it's like that. Okay? Allah doesn't need one person's ibadah. Allah doesn't need this entire exercise. But in order for us to improve and to exercise the potential that we have stored within all of us, okay, we are not doing Allah a favor. You don't owe Allah anything, okay. You are only doing yourself a experience, okay. It's got nothing to do with having to prove yourself here to anybody but yourself, okay. Allah doesn't need you to lie. Allah doesn't need you to be honest, because you are only damaging yourself or you are only upgrading yourself, okay. Whatever has happened in your past lives, 50, 60, 70 years, it is just stored in your mind, and that is where you are captured, but it has no effect on Allah or on the universe. It is just eating you up alive from the inside, okay? The sins that you carry with you, you are the only one that is punishing yourselves until the time that you release that guilt. Okay, the dogma, the fight with you have with the rest of the world, with your it's all things that you cannot purge from, because you have no sin. You have just been malfunctioning from inside. Okay, there's never been a problem outside. It is you and I that has failed to understand and activate our scrolls and our light inside, that we believe that the whole world is against us. Okay? When you cannot find the switch inside of yourselves, then you have to be deemed to where you are subjected to believing what you are currently believing in religions, in governments, in all these sorts of things, because your internal world was not matured at the time of the change of the gods. Okay? You know, what is very sad for me is your mothers and your fathers don't even know this. Your grandparents, some of them even don't know this. And the Quran was all the time speaking about it, and they prepared us for this time. And that is how it is so sad to realize how most of the ages, those who didn't make it into the age, okay, of our generation, we are the last generation, okay, born in the 1970s, right? From 1970 right up until 19, yani, I'll give it until 1989, okay, 1990. That is the last generation of this age now that is supposed to be having the blueprint, but unfortunately, they didn't make it, people. They didn't make it. Okay. When it comes to Yomul Qiyam, the day, the age of reconciling your accounts and auditing your books and balancing your accounts, okay, and your past and present and future, that all falls into one alignment. Then, when we speak about Yomul Qiyam, apa julle semua weer dan wat julle net glo dat dit is as jy dood is. Mense, dit is as jy wakker skrik, dan kan jy gaan Yawmul Qiyamah. Most of you understand Qiyamah in the Jahannam because you have been misled, and therefore you think that other nations are your enemies. But that was actually the con. Because you're not supposed to find Allah in another country. You're not supposed to find Jesus in a different country. You're not supposed to find Musa in a different advent. Okay? You were only supposed to stay inside. That was it. Nothing else. Okay? But then you decided to tell Allah, okay, before you came here in conscious, you must remember that your biggest crime in your journey is you forgot. Okay, most of you forgot. Your parents forgot, you forgot your children, and you made your children also forgetful. Okay, that's how you ended up in this condition that you cannot put on the lights inside. Okay, you're fighting the enemy outside. You are finding everybody outside to be the problem. You're finding me to be the problem because you cannot find yourself inside. Okay, you had to just remember what was told to you is that لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ, that you will be made into Zionists, all of you. All of us are Zionist people. It is a pretentious, superficial, virtual reality. It is not a permanency, right? Now that's virtual, okay? That is fictional. That is illusional, okay? That's infatuational, okay? That doesn't exist in the reality, okay, guys? It's only when you have been misled and misjudged and you could not calculate correctly, and the education that you received in the Jahannam gave you legitimacy for recognition, and therefore you challenged your God. Okay? All of you need new IDs because you lost yourselves all of us. We lost ourselves in this game of life. Okay? We lost our conscious. Now, what you must remember is Allah never lost himself, and there are those who were given the right of trans transcending, okay, of upgrading. So what you must remember at this moment of time, for those of you who did not remember, illa ibadak al-mukhlasin, is those guys that were liberated. The whole fight in the middle of this beast of the East was what? They didn't want there to be anybody that escaped the matrix, guys. Don't you understand? Nobody was supposed to break the codes, okay? That's why it was delayed until when it was delayed, okay? If you are alive, not when you're dead, right? If you're really alive, guys, most of us, we know most of our people are dead. Okay, so you don't know what is happening in reality. You are only knowing what is happening in hell, and hell doesn't exist by Allah because shaitan, Allah's given him full power of attorney to run the Jahannam, but you still believe that Allah is intervening on your Jahannam levels. People, the script is clear. If you forget, you pay. Okay. If you remember, you'll be rewarded. That's how the game works, right? Don't make excuses, and don't make others feel that you have been shortchanged. The problem was you, okay, and the solution was inside of the problem, and the solution was inside of us, okay. Allah did not break His promise. Allah fulfilled His promise, okay, because the disease was deeper than the physical. It went into the heart, into our hearts, people. We became blind, we became greedy, we became jealous. The problem here is that we started comparing, you see, because jy het gesien jou sister het so, jou broer het so, jou neighbor het so, jou dinges het so, because you were good on the outside, and you stayed there, and you monumentously went and made yourself a museum there, right? And then you started comparing yourself to everybody in the last billion years that has come and has built themselves yani, an incarnation in Jahannam. If you are in Jahannam and you die, you go back to Jahannam. Now, most of the people that you are finding on that route, they have been reincarnated all the time. And therefore, they are able to play you because you're still stupid in prison. Okay? They are the ones that spells your religions. They are the ones that prints your religious texts. Okay? They're the ones that interprets it for you. They're the ones that controls it for you. You're not going to find the God, guys. The real God is not outside. Okay? But you're not, it's not about making you right or wrong. It's just those who escape the, yani, this break since COVID now, as per the Quran, okay? That is when they find the glitch in the they call it the matrix, but it is actually it's all in your mind, okay. When you find that there's a crack in the wall, okay, and you can escape, okay. This makes Fir'aun very upset, okay, because he now is going to challenge the creator, the God of Musa, because he believes, yani, that the God of Musa is not real. Okay. Now, most of you are in that boat. Most of you are in the boat. I know that. I can tell you with Allah's yani, certainty, because I don't find you where you need to be. That's why I know where you are positioned in the sea. I know how deep you are buried in that sea. Okay. I can basically see who is surfacing, who is above, who can see above the water here. Okay. This is the age, the end of the age, and Qiyamah. This is now when you can ask and tell yourself, as you are now, are you ready for Qiyamah? You're going to say, you have an answer by yourself. Okay. It means that your lights was not switched on. Okay. So if you're not ready to go to the next stage, then you cannot stand. Now, this is Yawmul Qiyamah. And you believed all the time in the false Yawmul Qiyamah, because Yawmul Qiyamah is here now as per the Quran, but you are in denial. Why? Because you follow a dead God, which you call whatever you want to call it. Okay? So, guys, this is the condition. This is the condition of the dark world. See, of the night. Okay? When Allah Ta'ala gives Yaqub's sons the right of taking as much unconscious yani, souls into the new advent, into the hell reality, into the unconscious reality, then they are given a fair chance, which they call the Yawmuzina in the Quran. Okay, it's not just because it's in the Quran; it's in our psychology. It's all inside you. How you understand the Quran? Through your psychology and through your levels of perception and your angles of where you have reached in terms of how much have you been deceived and how long of sentences have you already served in Jahannam. Because look, guys, until now, even if you cannot tell yourself in all honesty where's Jahannam, then you are still in Jahannam. Okay? Be honest with yourselves in this world. Be honest, because you guys, mashallah, we guys, we thought we were going to outsmart a higher system, and now all the countries has lost, guys. If they know what has happened. They are very intelligent people. Okay, they're not stupid people. They know that there is a group of people that ascended into a higher timeline of consciousness. They know that. Okay, and they are on the alert. Okay, because they don't know how it's going to strike. They don't know how this thing is going to turn. They've not been here before. We've never been here in a conscious. It's the first time we put on the lights in this ballroom. Okay, we've not yet casted in this room, right? We are now going to paint the walls. We are now going to put on the deco. But the soul tribes comes in on the basis that they remember. That's why for them it is the Nahar, it is the day. And that's why they call Nahar and Nahar the same, because there is no war between the Nahar and the Nahar, the Alif. Okay? Fanqadda. When that wall falls, okay, then you will find the night. But if the wall is not, if the wall if the whole is established, then there would be the separation between those who are in eternal Jannah and those who are in eternal Jahannam. Whenever you heard about those who are in eternal hell, okay, those of you that cannot realize that where hell is now, okay, this is eternal hell in your evolution. Okay, it's in the Quran, guys. We are not here to blast anybody out or blast. I'm just telling you what in the Quran is, and just be honest with you guys. So, okay, we're not gonna know you guys. We're never gonna see you. You're never gonna see us because we're not gonna be in the physical realm. We are busy re-scripting a psychology which you have never ever witnessed in your life, nor did anybody on this planet witness it. Okay, with Allah's qudra. Okay. It is in the level of Tataria and Atlantia, but it lives within you guys because it's in your scrolls. The entire Quran is in your cells, in your cellular lights, in your minds, in your brains, in your knowledge. So you have to activate Ashara Suwar. Okay, fa'tu bi ashari suwarim mithliha. Okay, you have to now come up and cast a cycle where Allah must bring up the similar, okay, and see how close you come to that which Allah has revealed, okay. So in civilizations, they came up with the Isa, with the Krista, with the Muhammad, with the Ibrahim. In every one, they're trying to decode a certain portion of your evolution as to what your scroll encrypted, okay, as to where you've reached. Now, everybody on the planet is on a different darajat. يعني تلك الرسل فضلنا بعضهم على بعض منهم من كلم الله ورفع بعضهم درجات. This is for the super intelligent, not for the people that follows blindly. That is Jahannam. For that, they didn't need a Quran. They just need to follow the Hawa. Okay? But those who Allah gives Iman, only Allah gives you Iman. You don't give yourself faith. Okay? Because this thing wants strong currency. Faith is currency. Okay? Now, once your currency, your voltage is activated, then automatically you will understand where you are in the sea of conscious. Okay? Where you are in terms of the scrolls that has been downloaded into your realm of your present. Okay? That is in alignment with your Quran. Each juz, each surah, each number has a purpose. Okay, if Surah Yusuf is number 12, you must be able to identify with it because Allah will not mention anything as a number if He did not give you the answers for it. It is, we have the answers for it. It's just you guys are busy gambling out there. Okay, We cannot tell you the answers. Why must we tell you the answers? Because each one is on his own journey. We keep it for the soul tribe so that our next 7 generations must be secured and shielded, right? That's secrets. That's secrets. We are not here to have a occasion, yani a sale. This is not a sale. This is a real life, okay? Now, because it's unconscious that we are all living, we're not hiding from you anything, nor are we deliberately sinking your boat. You're the only one that can affect yourself. You're the only one that can lead yourself astray, okay? With the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So nothing was wrong outside. The lights was off inside. Yeah, okay. So when you get to conscious, you will come to realize that because you were unconscious, you were trialed, you were sentenced, you were serving yani your the crimes that you had unconsciously thought you committed in a fraudulent yani identity, under a fraudulent identity, okay. um, and that is how you will feel the world that you live in is unjust, and the God has no heart, and he has given certain people preference over the others, because you are currently living in Jahannam. This is Jahannam. I confirm to you where you are living now in a conscious timeline. It is Jahannam. Okay. Now the problem that you are sitting with is that waar gaan sy kry die Jannah? Sy het niks documents. You've got nothing to prove. You've got no ID to prove that you can enter into a Jannah. Waar gaan sy Jannah kry? Okay. Now this is where you're going to come to realize that your children will not be connected to you, because you destined not to enter the Jannah where they're supposed to be. Be honest, guys. Opperlieg vir julleself. Julle te lank gelieg. Okay? This thing now, by yani, consciously, what is happening is that, look, Allah is only busy with you in your conscious, your subconscious, what you call it, right? Now, as most of us are now stuck in that bochi, okay, that lie that we lived in for the last 40, 50 years of our lives, thinking that there was physically a prophet, a Jesus, a Moses, a house, that is now going to evaporate in your minds. The Dukhan is going to come now from tomorrow onwards, inshallah. Okay. That's going to erupt inside of you. Nothing happens on the outside. When your lights are off inside, dan soek sy iets wat exists outside. It all happens inside. The movies is happening inside the movie yani, theater, not outside. Okay? So when you're not given the right to be in the theater, khalas, then you're going to have to look at a synthetic screen, as what you have been living on, we have been living on for the last 7 years of our lives now. Okay? That's the only source of data that you are fed with, because you cannot open up this. This is dead in your lives. Julle kan nie lees die boek. Okay. All of you supposed to have read it. All of you supposed to have known it. Why? Because Allah gave it to us in our ruh form. Okay, we didn't have to study. We just had to be honest to ourselves and live as to the cultural orientations of our ancestors. Okay, nothing about being clever. Okay, you will now understand in conscious and unconscious terms is that how you created prophets without having to realize that Allah was enough. That's what you're going to happen now to you, right? You're going to find a way to make yourself justify that Allah had to send prophets in order to safeguard other nations. Got nothing to do with you. You're here now. You're not supposed to be in another place, okay? You will now understand what was the actual meaning of who Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is. What was the purpose behind all that simulations that you had gone through, okay? But as I said, if you're in Jahannam, you are not going to get angels there. You're going to find devils there. The devil is inside of you. You're going to look at me and think, die jongens moes 'n iblis man. Hoe kan jy sulke dinge praat? Guys, I'm the mirror in your dark reflection. I'm your ghost because it's inside of you, people. Okay? You cannot just face up to it because as a donker daar vir is. Okay? We do this again. I'm going to finish now because I'm doing a katat. Ons gaan katat maak in Alphendale between Maghrib and Isha. If you are in the area, please come around. It will be nice. I need to have a beautiful katat op donderdag aan. Bietjie katat melk en 'n bietjie vermicelli inshallah met rasyntjies. Okay. Anyway, just to keep it like it's a poasedag vandag. It's a bietjie honger vandag, mashallah. Tabarakallah. So I do all of these things because it is energy that that we regulate. We can still do it until now because when you react and I react, then there is a wall that comes up. You see, and that wall is the separation. That's the fossil. Okay, so you have to do that for at least 2 years continuously for that timeline to break and a new timeline to come into compulsion. That's how it works. Like obviously, most of you have not been privileged to that knowledge. Like so, you believe that on the TV and that which is on the clips, and you believe it, but it's synthetic because when you go back to it after a year, then you will know they played you. When you go back to our conjure of our gene, it is being the nasij, it is being gehikel, is gekrousje taboe. As hier onder gekrousje. Okay? Because it has purpose. Everybody has to say jim because we say a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. You don't know why Allah left jim at the end of that. Okay? We know people because we remember who we are. We remember from before we came into this dimension. And we know exactly where we have to be when we transit. Okay? So therefore we don't fear. We don't have that way we are living in survival like most of you in Jahannam, you live in survival. Okay? Because we ook hulle speel vir julle like soos 'n karate kid. Right? So that is how you are now just sitting on your musla en sy loop op en en sy dink wat 'n sadaka kan ek doen en al die goedetjies because they played you. They played. Your gods that you are working on, okay, they don't exist. That is alia. That is gods that that keeps you alive in Jannah. Okay, the God in Jannah doesn't need you. Remember that. So if you know who you are, then you will know how the condition in Jannah is supposed to have been. Okay? So when it comes to Qiyam, the age of Qiyam, then your and my condition will be exposed to the open. It's what the Jacobites calls it the golden age, okay? Because hulle flows mense daarso. Okay? We call it the transparent age because there's nothing to hide. We see it as it is. But because the slaves, as most of us, serving in religious paradigms, are slaves of other gods. We are not Allah's slaves. Okay, we have not yet come to that level of maturity. Okay, so those who reach that level, they can leave now. People, they go into what they know what is Jannah. Okay, you will never know what Jannah is until you leave the Jahannam. Okay. This is the age you were supposed to do, and you have it all in your scrolls. Don't say Allah is unfair. Don't say Allah is unfair. Our mothers knew it. We found it with him. They opened up this, this chamber for us, the ghurfa. Okay, that's why we know that our forefathers were from the ancient soul tribes because they had their exclusive place where we found them. Okay, And that's where we remember, right? That's why how we recognize our soul mothers, that when we go to the moluds, weet ons wie is hulle. Ons ken nie die gesiggie, maar ons voel dit because ons hoor die sounds, okay? Daai sounds is Abu, brothers. Is nie jou onder nie. As jy nie daai sounds recognize jou onder nie, dan was jy nie Abu. That's how it works, guys. There's no biasness. Yani, there is nothing about us not being yourself. Keep the light burning inside and betaal electric. Okay? Betaal het met wat? Met action, nie met geld. Okay? Let me see. Okay, I'm just gonna give you one. You see, you live in a body. Okay? Now in that body there's a brain. Okay? Now you had to figure out where is the electricity of the brain. Okay? Whoever keeps you busy during the age where the electricity of the brain is being calibrated, they synchronize you into that mold for another 950 years. So we as soul tribes know that those of you that did not get the upgrades, where you were stuck in that portion of the world, okay, inside your brains, okay, you didn't know how to use. You were supposed to use that electricity to go up, to upgrade your story, to upgrade your level of perception, to clean your house, to do the new outfit. Okay, because we're going into a new conjure of a reality of it's above our understanding as human now, because we are now going above the rationale and the logic which we had consolidated in the past. Because you must remember, since COVID, all that was logical, all that was religious, all that was real was destroyed in truth. In truth, if you live in truth, then you have to come to terms with what truth and facts was made a lie. Okay? Now, as you are academics, you cannot come to terms that everything you researched is a lie for the last 100 years of your life. Because you could not resist and you could not change the narrative at that moment in time. So, limanil mulkul yawm, who held the narrative? We know who held the narrative because we read our books, we read our scripts, okay? But most of you died. Most of you died, and that is where you remained. Once Allah doesn't give you life, you remain dead forever, people. Remember that. Life is not in the Jahannam, life is above, okay? وَنَفَخْنَا فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِنَا. You feel those who are alive. You feel those who are dead. Now your children, they know that many of you has deceased in spirit. Okay? That was the depopulation that has happened. And you were given a fair amount of chance to try and upgrade yourselves. Puasa, bichi, get into that so that you can get into the groove and come back to your roots, right? So we have the plan. Let me tell you, Allahu Akbar, we have the plan, but we don't sell the plan. Okay, we don't sell it for money, and we don't share it in public. Okay? That's for the soul tribes. But we have to say it so that you not be felt that you were deliberately left out of the equation. You can't invite somebody for a party in the Jannah, guys. Remember what I'm telling you. Okay, you cannot invite someone for a party in the Jannah because that's a party where the lights never goes off. Okay, but because you lived in a party in a dark space, you thought that once you die, you'll get another party, not knowing that this horror movie is only starting now. Okay? Life is serious, guys. Don't take it for granted ever. Okay? You were told about it. All of us were told about it. But we thought we could bamboozle Allah. We thought so. We could only bamboozle ourselves at the end. Okay, we have nobody in mind that we're speaking to. We are actually speaking to ourselves here, and therefore it cannot offend you unless the darkness reigns within you. Okay, because there's no madness inside of someone else unless you activate the madness inside of you. Okay, you cannot reach this daraja of elevation, of reality, of where you need to be and where you had to be present, unless you forfeit your past mind. And only Allah can install a new operational Amduma, we call it, okay? A new system. Only Allah can send that into you. That is where you get to lapse your past ideologies and psychologies and philosophies, and that's how you get to remodule a new vision that is unlimited, yani, um, space, and it's not in a time frame. Okay, this is beyond the time linear and binaries that you are familiar with. This is a high, and I can tell you, you as a civilization, we as a civilization, you are on a high alert now, because it's at any time. It's at any time that it will be exposed, yani, things about you, about what you are hiding. This is Qiyam, guys. In Qiyam, you have no right to change anything. You have to yani, face up to the music. That's Qiyam. Now, who can a mens glo amantu billahi wa malaikati wa kutubi wa rusuli wal yawmil qiyamah, en is nou yawmil qiyamah en julle weet nie is qiyamah nie. Hoe weet hy? Jy moet wees in die donkerte, because yawmil qiyamah is the jannah en is a jahannam, and you are not supposed to know when it is. Only those who believe knows. Those who are in denial. Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun La a'budu ma ta'budun. You really thought that this book was left in a past age while it had to only be activated in your presence. Okay? So when you're stuck still in that doom's world, then that is where you deserve to be punished. Okay? And it's going to go fast now. As I said previously, from more onwards, it's happening in conscious. We see it all the time happening. We're not seeing it for you as an individual. We don't see you. We see it in the cycle, because in conscious there's no humans, there's hearts, there's cycles, there is energy. That's an energy field, okay? So because we are regulating ourselves on that level of a reality, of a understanding, okay? Can see the game without being biased, people. But you have to report it here so that your fellow members are given a dosage of reassurance. Okay? But ultimately, the game is about yaqeen. Yaqeen. If you still believe that you must go to Jahannam, then you are in Jahannam, because the lights is off. If you believe that you are in Jannah, then Allah has put on your lights. That's where you are since COVID. Okay. Again, people, this is where death, there's no death after this age. For those who are in Jannah, in their dimensions, where our grandmothers are, I see people from Menenberg, Worcester, Rocklands. Hulle is al klein in Jannah, hulle maak net gesê wat hulle is daar so. Because hulle lewe daar so in hulle presence. It's because they were so badly given an understanding of who they were, that they're not given that purpose to enter. But because we came now, this thing is going to take a full potential. She's going to reach a full potential, because if you must know who is the true children of Israel, you will hate yourself forever. That's why people that spend forever in Jahannam is because of hate, self-hate, because you hated someone else but that hate was actually within. And that is the price that we as a civilization are now paying for. Malish, haq is haq. We're not saying this to anybody but ourselves. Man amila salihan falinafsihi. So you cannot take offense unless the darkness, the light that we put on, is showing the darkness inside of you. Die ignorance is donker te broers. That's wat ons vassit. En ons is in 'n ons is in 'n sware situation wat ons wil dit sê nie, because ons gaan lieweste sat met hy pyn. Dis hoe mutakabbir ons geword. Okay? Ons wil mos nie sê ons is verkeerd nie. Ons wil mos nie toegee dat ons was gemisleid nie. Allah sê gaan en jy dans soos jy wil. But let me tell you before I finish off, I have to go now, is your children and your great-grandchildren are going to have a nice time. They're not going to be as judgmental and as comparative. Ek moet nou die draai en ek moet die ry en ek moet die own en ek moet... No, not going to have that people. They're going to really see you for your idolatry lifestyles, okay? And then secondly is that they're not going to compare. What else is there is... the gods are not going to be the gods. If you believed in idolatry, what gods must they believe in? Oh no, wat ek julle nou sê, hulle gaan nie glo soos julle glo nie, because hulle weet julle is idolaters. So they're going to live without the religions that you lived with, because you live with false gods. Oh no, wat ek vir julle vandag sê. It's a surprise vir julle, but die Koran kan net die waarheid praat. En as julle kan onthou, and so ek praat die waarheid vandag, inshallah. Okay? Anyway, I have to get going now. Have a nice puka, and mashallah Adila, much love to you and to all the mothers and all the sisters. May Allah Ta'ala give you a beautiful iftar this morning. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا مصطفى كل شيء لله يا نورا من نور الله يا مصطفى